It's time to break down some football.
We got to get our mind right. Touchdown, win.
From the perspective of guys who played in the NFL.
Caught, touchdown!
And a guy who had one really great sack in high school.
Oh, you're so weak. You're a waste of my time.
Greg Camarillo and Marcus McNeil are the pros. And Scraby is the Joe.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Two pros and a Joe starts right now.
We're back. Hopefully we're not back like Cam, though, because that means we're going to be out in 2 weeks.
Shots fired immediately.
Come on. Damn.
Love it.
Let me warm first.
And a Joe. Two pros and a Joe. We're back. Hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving week. We were out on Thanksgiving. Marcus and Greg had some stuff going on. And, of course, my nice little niece gave me a cold on Tuesday. So basically I just spent the entire Thanksgiving holiday sick. So that was amazing. But that's why we weren't here with you last week. We have so much to talk about today. We'll talk about Cam in a little bit. We're going to talk about the Rams and what they're going to do. Maybe it's time to blow the Seahawks up. Ooh. We're going to talk about some of the injuries that could impact playoff races. And we might get into some other different stories at the end of this podcast. But it's good to see your guys' face. I'm glad to be back with you guys. I had so much stuff to talk to myself about in the NFL over the last week or so. But what were you guys' weeks like? Anything fun happen?
Got fat, ate, slept, drank, did all the good stuff I needed to do.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, I was already fat, so I woke up from the coma around Sunday.
That's a long coma. Thursday to Sunday is a food coma.
It was Thursday till Saturday, and then Auburn lost it the last second in the Iron Bowl. I kind of drunk myself back into a coma.
Yeah, that was an interesting game. It was like Alabama couldn't score. Then they went to 4 overtimes, but the game was only 22. I'm like, what? This went to 4 overtimes? What the heck happened here?
First of all, I don't even understand college football overtime rules at all. Like, it is the most confusing concept in the world to me.
I don't understand it either. I thought it was back and forth, but they changed a little bit. Anyway, we're not talking about college football overtime here. We were talking about the NFL. Oh, real quick, one more thing before we move into the topics. Marcus had a birthday a couple weeks ago. And his lovely wife was so stealth in trying to set this thing up that she reached out to me on Instagram like 2 weeks before this all went down and let me know about it and had me go and ask Greg about it and everything. So that's why we had to do it on that Monday. And I am just personally so happy I wasn't the one who ruined the surprise, because that's totally something for me.
Good job, Scrapes.
Happy birthday, Marcus.
Way to go, Scrapes. Y'all, hey, both of you guys, round of applause. Way to keep that hidden, because she did a great job of surprising me. I'm very rarely really surprised about stuff, but I was actually caught off guard in this moment. I had no idea what was going on. One of the best birthdays ever. I appreciate that, Scrapes. I'm glad you could be a part of it. It was actually the first time we saw each other.
Exactly. So I walk in, and it was in a speakeasy in San Diego. So first, I couldn't find the place. I just couldn't find it. It was so hard for me to find. I knew what building it was in. We got in the building. My friend and I walked around forever, and I'm like, where the heck is this place? No one's given us anything of where this is. Finally, we find someone who's bringing in food, and we're like, this has to be where this thing is going. So we walk through, and there was a gym to the right, the apartment building gym. And then there was a bunch of lockers in high school, and behind the lockers was where this room was. And I had no freaking idea. And it was pretty cool walking in. So I walk in, Marcus looks at me. He kind of gets that face I think I know you, but I haven't actually met you. So I felt like I needed to put a Zoom box around my head so that he can figure out who it was. But it was nice seeing Marcus in person for the first time. And I said this at his birthday party. I'm going to be a little bit less of a jerk when I'm saying things to him, because Marcus is a very tall and large man. He's a large man. Guy. He's 6 foot. He's 6'8", 6'7", 6'8". And he's a professional football player. The other thing I thought was really fun too was I walk in, And there's just like, if you're a San Diego Charger from the late 2000s, early 2010s, you were definitely in that room. Quentin Jammer, Stephen Cooper, and then you got Dealman as well. So there was a couple of former players there too. So we might get them on the podcast at some point. We talked about that. So good times all around. And I'm glad Greg and I didn't ruin your secret. So
appreciate it, guys, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
How old are you, Big Mac?
Yeah.
I'm 38, man. I might be
just a young pup.
Hey, man, come on now. Hey. But y'all knew to bring the yak, though, so I appreciate the yak.
Big Mac likes the yak, man. We did. Mac and I had a TV show together before COVID shut us down. Yep, on NBC San Diego. And it was one question about what you drinking, beer or liquor. And I'll always remember, he said, Big Mac loves the yak.
and for all those cool kids out there who might not know what yak is, I thought that was yards after catch, but is that just a slang term for like liquor or something like that?
Well, for cognac, it's cognac.
Oh, so I didn't even look and see what Greg got you.
Yeah, it's a cognac, so you just shorten it up because we too cool for all that. So we
man. I'm finding out a lot of things about the alcohol world right now, because I used to drink, not anymore, but good stuff all the way around. All right, now I'm done patting ourselves on the back. Let's get down to business. Back to the action. Week 12, things have been a little bit crazy here for a couple teams, and we're going to start with those two teams. They both happen to be in the NFC West. This is not me forcing and shoehorning NFC West talk into this podcast, but it's the Rams, and they have lost 3 in a row now. They lost that Sunday night game to the Titans at home. They lost to the 49ers in San Francisco, and then they lost on Sunday to Green Bay after the bye week in Lambeau. And
hold on, I say that again. Where?
I know I emphasized the wrong syllable. I emphasized the wrong syllable. It's Lambeau. It's not Lambeau. It's not French and fancy. It's not what Marcus is going to be drinking later tonight. It's Lambeau Field, but they were the slam dunk Super Bowl team here in the early part of the season. Matt Stafford is struggling. He's not able to find his guys. He's throwing pick sixes. He's thrown, I think, 3 pick sixes in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what you guys are seeing as the guys who are former pros here on the podcast. What do you think is going on with St. Louis? Wow, that was weird. What do you think is going on with the Los Angeles Rams? Because, I mean, they have to get it back on track and get it back on track soon.
Yeah, I mean, look at who they've played. So their last 3 losses, like you mentioned, Packers, Niners, Titans, 3 really good teams. The 3 teams before that they played, Texans, Lions, Giants, 4 teams, Seahawks. These teams are not good. So they went on a hot streak against bad teams. Now they're playing some good competition with injuries, which is another big component. And they just haven't been able to overcome it. So I'm still a believer in them. I still think they'll get it back together. Robert Woods is out. OBJ will eventually figure that out. And then Von Miller and Aaron Donald, whenever they click and get that D-line rolling, they've got talent. But in the NFL, you can't just pop a new guy in the team and expect it to roll right away. We'll talk about Cam Newton and that in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes time to gel. It takes time to figure out the offense. The only way to play fast is if you know everything, and it takes a while to know everything. They'll get it back together, especially when you're trying to get it back together and you've got the Jaguars. Great week to get it back together.
Oh, that is a good week.
Hey, you hit it on the head, Greg. It's not really time yet to, start waving the white flag or thinking that, it's the end of the Rams right now. They just have so much talent right now. I think it's hard for them to gel. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's almost like when you have so many good players out there, you could kind of get caught up like waiting on them to make big plays or waiting on your teammates, because they're so great that eventually something big's going to happen and the momentum's going to shift your way. So I feel like they have so many guys that are trying to learn each other on the defensive side of the ball, OBJ coming on the offensive side of the ball, that regardless of how much talent you have, it just hasn't gelled yet. And as a team, you got to have that cohesiveness. It doesn't matter how many stars you got.
Yeah, Odell Beckham Jr., he didn't have a very big first game with them, but they took the bye week to let him learn some plays. They probably put some special plays in there for him. And he had a decent, I mean, more than a decent game. He had probably the best OBJ game we've seen in a couple of years. 5 catches, I think 81 yards and a touchdown.
Right. He barely played the last 2 years.
Well, that's also true because he tore his ACL and everything. But
yeah.
I was an OBJ hater. I'll just say it. I was an OBJ hater.
Let it out, Scrapes. You got 2 weeks of hatred trapped inside you. Let it out.
He crushed my fantasy football teams, and now he's about to crush the NFC West. I feel like he is going to just keep getting better each and every week.
Yeah, so this offense, they took a step back because Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are a fine oiled machine together. They're 2 cogs that spin with each other, and you need both of them to make the offense work because they're both really good at what they do. And it's not one-on-one football. OBJ better at one-on-one football, but he'll figure it out. He'll figure out what they're looking for in the route. Stafford's a veteran guy. OBJ's a veteran guy. They'll get on the same page, and they'll eventually get rolling.
Cooper Kupp might be the only person right now that I still have doubt about. And I'm surprised I'm saying this because he's like one of the best receivers in the league, period.
Is that racial? No.
It's not completely racial.
Appreciate your honesty, man. Appreciate the honesty.
It's not completely racial, but it just like came out the blue for me, you know? So whenever I'm not expecting like a receiver to come in and have a big year like he's having, like I'm still not convinced if it's just like teams not focusing on them like they should, or is it just him just having a monster year? I mean, kudos to the guy, man. You know what I'm saying? Kudos to Cooper Kupp, but I just wasn't expecting it. So when he doesn't have a big game, it doesn't surprise me.
You know what's interesting when you bring that up now is that so white guy receivers, we'll dive right into it. The 3 most dominant over the last 20 years, Cooper Kupp, Julian Edelman, and Wes Welker.
Wes Welker, yeah.
And these are dudes absolutely dominant. There's minimal Pro Bowls, and I don't know the exact stat, but I don't think Cooper Kupp's made a Pro Bowl. I don't think Edelman made a Pro Bowl. I'm not sure about Welker. I think he was in there a little bit.
That's crazy if Edelman didn't make at least one.
I'm on his wiki right now, and I don't see it. I see 3-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. Like, dude got it done. Yeah. But it's interesting. It's what comes up with Cooper Kupp too. It's dominant receivers that aren't making the Pro Bowl, and I think it's just because they're not as flashy and as sexy as somebody that's working the outside, making these like 70-yard touchdowns. Well, Cooper Kupp actually does that. To be honest with you, I don't know, but it's just an interesting thing.
Hey, I don't think it's like the crazy explosive plays that you're seeing, the circus catches, the, you know, like one-on-one down the field bombs and stuff. Like when you don't see a lot of that, like I don't think they get the same accolades, but I promise you they working just as hard. All 3 of those receivers you just named, I would put on my team in a heartbeat because they like the blue collar wide receivers, the ones that's going to bring their lunch pail and be ready to work every week and not be complaining or are worried about how big the showboat's going to look after they score.
Yeah, the Honda Civic of receivers, trusty, reliable, will get it done for years.
That's so true.
Lamborghini gets to the Pro Bowl.
I had a Honda Civic when I lived in San Francisco, and it was the most amazing car ever because I didn't care what I did to it. It would just keep running like it always did.
Always there, always trusty.
Always trusty. That's pretty true about Cooper Kupp. I mean, I'm looking at what he did in college, and he just crushed in college. I mean, he was great at Eastern Washington. One of the years he averaged like 150 yards per game. So that's what the Rams are trying to get him to do. But he was there for a little bit here in the NFL. This season, he was leading all receivers in yards. But I don't know that is still the case. But Sean McVay, do you think this is kind of a game planning thing? Do you think that there's anything on him? Because I see him in the press conferences, and I know you guys said you would love to play for him. You said that you would like a guy who is a player's coach like that, who's running down the field with you. But Sean McVay to me also doesn't take any of the criticism when things go wrong. He kind of puts it back on the players in a roundabout way. And I don't know if I'm reading that correctly or if my hater goggles are
It all depends on how he is with the players versus how he is with the media. If you call us out in meetings, no problem. Call us out in the media too. Just be honest, be real, be authentic. Don't come in the locker room, in the meeting room, talking one thing and then talk something else to the media. If you're keeping it real, you give us the blame. If I mess up, let me know. I mean, don't go out there and just totally destroy me in front of everybody.
Camarillo, man, he missed that block and that was it.
If that's what happened, I know that's what happened, and he, if that's what he wants to say, fine. But also, if something goes wrong with the coach, you better take that blame. If you miss a timeout, if you miss clock management, you better take the blame too. As long as you're authentic and real with it, I'm good with whatever you do.
I think he fits that LA culture. Like everything about LA and Sean McVay kind of roll with each other. And I think they're building the organization to kind of be that type of culture where it's like big names, big stars, you know what I'm saying? We're in LA to like be a show, and that's what they want to do. So he just has to learn, like I said before, how to manage all the talent. And that's going to be a difficult part because you have Pro Bowl caliber players all over your team, So I think managing them is going to be his biggest coaching mountain that he has to climb this year.
Yeah. And we'll see what happens with the Rams. Another NFC West team we're talking about, and this was on full display on Monday Night Football last night. The Seahawks are broken. They look terrible. They don't really – I was fully ready for a DK meltdown last night because he was like jumping up and down. I'm open, and Russell Wilson wasn't even looking in his direction. I don't know. He didn't even get a target until the second half. DK Metcalf is one of the best, most physical receivers in the league. Why aren't you just giving him shots down the field early? And this isn't all about DK Metcalf, but I wanted to get your guys' opinions on what do the Seahawks do? Is it time? Is it time to blow it all up? Trade Russell Wilson, get some picks for the future, force out Pete Carroll, and is that time? Because right now they have no first-round picks in next year's draft, thanks to their trade for safety Jamal Adams. And now the Jets have that pick. And now since the Seahawks are so terrible this year, the Jets are getting a number 5 pick in the first round of the draft. So Jets are making out really well on this whole thing. But I don't know what to do. You guys know what to do. Marcus, got any ideas, man? Got any ideas to blow this thing up?
Pump the brakes. We're talking about one of the best teams over the last decade here. All right. And right there in the middle of their season, they lose their quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Right there when they're trying to catch their stride in the season. He comes back, but how good can you really be with a surgery that you just had on your throwing hand, if I'm not mistaken? I had a couple surgeries that I had playing, and I played with broke hands, but I wasn't the quarterback. So I can only imagine squeezing the ball and gripping the ball. Like all that has to feel different after coming off a surgery like that. So as a quarterback, I can understand why you're not going to be as crisp as you want to be, and we all know Russell Wilson is the leader of that team. He's that catalyst that makes that thing go. So if he's not on point, then I think that's going to throw everybody off their square.
I was about to say the exact opposite and say it's time to blow it up. And then Mac, you make a lot of good sense, and it also gave me time to do some Googling. Over the last 10 years, they've only not made the playoffs once. They've been to the Super Bowl twice.
Wow.
And exactly what Mac said. You got your quarterback out. He came back early because he claimed to be doing 20 hours of rehab every day. So he's probably tired on top of that.
Yeah, what the heck?
It's just a bad year. And it's just a bad year, man. You can't sell out your coach. You can't sell out your quarterback who have excelled for a decade off one bad year. I think you got to bring them back and give it one more shot.
They got to. How much money they just give him?
A lot of money. That's part of it.
Come on,
a lot of money, but Russell Wilson was also lobbying for possibly a trade in the last offseason. He went on Dan Patrick. He basically laid out the numbers of how many times he's been sacked across the league in the last 10 years, and then said, or his agent tweeted out, Russell does not want to trade, but if there was a trade, these are the teams he wants to go to.
Russ has been getting abused. But I mean, that's that. When you pay your quarterback so much, you're limited in what you can do and what you can get, and that's just life, and that's why.
That's Russell Wilson is named Mr. Unlimited. So maybe he needs to change his name to Mr. Limited.
Yeah, it's great.
Evil ass hater laugh right there.
And I got like cold laugh.
This is pent up aggression right now. He was ready to get out last week.
I missed you guys last week. I was ready to go. I was just like talking to myself all day.
I just don't know about the Jamal Adams trade. You know, like I understand that you wanted to address the defense, but Jamal Adams, you know this, Greg. He's a safety, right? He's not the corner, right? He's a safety, right?
Safety.
Playing linebacker-ish.
Yeah. So I just don't see any safety that I'm going to give that much up for, because I just don't see them like making or breaking my defense. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a cover corner, you know what I'm saying? I need to lock up the best receiver. Maybe a pass rusher, you know what I'm saying, who can cause disruption the whole game, or a linebacker that's going to call everything for me and then kind of be in the middle for everything. But a safety is kind of he's a safety, you know what I'm saying? He's a safety valve, you know what I'm saying? Like
he's the guy there in case something bad happens.
Yeah, like I just don't know if I would have gave up all that for him.
Here's what they gave.
Thinking that he was going to be the answer.
Here's what he gave. I'm going to let you. I know, Greg, you got something. The Jets sent the Seahawks Jamal Adams in a 2022 fourth round pick. And the Seattle Seahawks in exchange sent a 2021 first rounder, a 2022 first rounder, a 2021 third rounder, and then safety Bradley McDougald. They give up 2 firsts and a third. I don't understand it.
And they weren't expecting that to be such a high pick like it is now, but Matt's exactly right. So in our day, a safety had more of an influence because he could destroy a receiver. He could get interceptions. Looking like Troy Polamalu, worth it. That's a guy that's worth it.
Perfect.
Or the Legion of Boom, when they could lay people out and destroy anyone coming across the middle. But you can't do that now, which eliminates a lot of the impact of a safety. They're basically covering and then making tackles. But if your safety's leading you in tackles, it's a bad look for your team. So I agree with Mac. The safety position is not as valuable as it once was. The other interesting thing about this trade is it's similar what the Rams did with Stafford, where it's like, if it works, great move. If it doesn't work, that shit backfires for years to come.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to see what happens with the Seahawks. I say blow it up, start from scratch, maybe get better in like 7-8 years, and we'll go from there.
Where do you want to see Russ go if you blow it up?
Oh, I do have a couple spots I think he would be good at. I think, like, here's a dreamed up scenario that I've had in my head. Russell goes to the New York Giants. New York Giants send back Daniel Jones and a couple picks. And now the New York Giants are set with a franchise quarterback, and the Seahawks can rebuild off of Daniel Jones and the picks that they got. Or the Broncos are looking for a quarterback too.
I'd like to see Russ in New York. That would be fun.
Yeah, Russ and Sierra in New York, that can work.
Oh yeah, didn't even think about that. Didn't even think about that. Well, we'll see what happens. Now,
things got to be thinking about Sierra, man. Come on.
It reminds me of the creepy video that he sent out when he signed his extension, when he's in bed with Sierra. And he's like, it's like he smoked cigars for like 3 weeks leading up to this video, because he's like, go Hawks. It's so creepy.
Hey man, when you signed, what was it, 135 or whatever it was?
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
But at least you know what video I'm talking about, because it was like, whoa, Russell, is this like software porn I'm going to be seeing on Skinamax here pretty soon? Like, what's going on here? Moving forward and getting me away from Skinamax is the injuries that could impact playoff races. We had some pretty big injuries over the weekend in week 12. We'll start with Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers and his stupid toe. This toe has become like the holy grail of media in Green Bay, because they really want to know about this toe. Reports are he's not going to have surgery in the bye week. It's a broken toe. It's his little toe on one of his feet. And that smart ass that Aaron Rodgers did made sure the media knew that he shot his toe up. made
He called it
sure
his COVID toe on top of that.
he did call it his COVID toe because the Wall Street Journal put out an article saying that he had COVID toe, and he called them out. And I was like, I'm fine with you calling them out because COVID toe, you can't just say someone has COVID toe. I don't even know COVID toe's real. And is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Google, you'll see some pictures, little red toes.
All right. Well, Wall Street Journal can't. The Wall Street Journal can't just say he's got COVID toe. And so,
no, they cannot.
Real quick, because Aaron Rodgers was mad, so he went on Twitter and he retweeted saying, "I need an apology." What he didn't know is that he retweeted a person who retweeted the article, and he got everyone to go after this woman. She was just retweeting the article. She wasn't the author of the article. Well, I mean, this whole thing is crazy with Aaron Rodgers. But
straight under the bus. Oh my God.
Yeah, he did, and he has a lot of power on Twitter, but. Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be fine, I think. But it is something to watch for. A broken toe is no joke. No joke. I don't know. Marcus, could you play your position with a broken toe?
Absolutely.
Okay, I didn't know where you're going to go with that.
Yeah, I mean, like the pinky toe, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like
just cut it off, right?
Just cut it off.
Keep it off.
As long as you don't lose like your big toe, not like the big toe. You're out for the season. That's where the turf toes you talk. I've seen people go out off a turf toe. So definitely can't make it back off of that. But if it's like one of the middle toes or somebody stepped on or something like that, you're not really catching any balance on that. It's gonna be sore, but you should be good.
Greg, you couldn't play with a broken toe, could you?
A pinky toe, you're fine, man. The little piggy over there that went wee all the way home.
Yeah, you good.
I mean, you just take drugs. You get your shot of Toradol and get rolling. You're fine. Your big toe, like Max said, though, to this day, I have turf toe problems because of turf toe. Now, I will say it will hurt more if late in the season when Lambeau gets really cold. That
it might help him out though. It might be numb.
It's freezing.
Let me ask you about this.
Cutting that hard, he's fine.
Let me ask you about this shot. Like you get the shot, and then at some point the shot wears off. Are you just in like excruciating pain?
The next day, yeah. No, you're.
That's next day though. That's next day. It's not one of those shots that's gonna wear off in the middle of the game. They got the good drugs now.
Oh man, I need to get me on an NFL team. Good drugs. So he's going to be fine. Packers are kind of rolling right now. They just beat the Rams. 49ers, though, I think that they have an issue because Deebo Samuel, wide receiver / running back, he's been really good for the 49ers as a running back. First time in the history of the NFL that a wide receiver has scored a rushing touchdown in 3 straight weeks.
Yeah. So Deebo, let's just start by saying he's the most appropriately named NFL player. This dude is outstanding. So it's one thing to like give a fast receiver the ball and just say go, like on a jet sweep or like a reverse or something. But this dude is actually playing running back. Like he's in the backfield, he's making reads, he's following blockers. He is outstanding at 2 positions, and that shit is fun to watch.
Bro, he's an outstanding football player. Yeah. You know how back in the day they used to label people not as a position but as an athlete.
They recruit as athlete.
That's Deebo right there. Deebo is that guy who you could put anywhere on the field. I'm pretty sure if they needed him to play defense if he had to, he'll be able to get out there and do what he needed to do because some guys are just built to play football, and Deebo's one of them. Who wants Deebo? Huh?
The one downfall, his Achilles heel, is that he gets hurt from time to time, and that's what's happening here. He's going to be out probably 1 to 2 weeks. I'm going to say 2 weeks because they're going to hold him out, but he has groin issues, and that makes me as a 49ers fan very, very, very nervous because he took the ball and he felt it tighten up. I think maybe this is a smart move, but he went right to the ground as soon as he felt a tweak.
Great move. I've had groin issues, and if you try to fight through it, it gets worse. So a smart move by him, just take your loss, rehab, hopefully come back in 2 weeks. That's not something you fight through either and come back early. You need to take your time. They got the Seahawks this week. Should be a win with or without Deebo.
Should.
Then they got the Bengals But it's really this division is going to come down to the last few weeks. Arizona's going to take it. Rams Niners play the last week of the season.
Yeah, they do.
That should be a good one.
That's going to be a good game, but 100% was you right. Matter of fact, 1,000%. If you have a groin injury, no way you need to try and push through it. That is not the injury you can push through. You know, I would rather you push through like almost like maybe a turf toe, maybe like something like broken, like a broken digit finger or something like that. Like you could push through stuff like that, right? Like take it up, keep it pushing. But the groin has so much to do with your explosiveness. Like and then you can hurt it so much worse, you know, to where it really just lingers on for weeks, even months down the line. We had a wide receiver named Buster Davis, who was a first round pick out of LSU. Man, had all the talent in the world. I'm talking about could run, jump. You know, we thought he was the second coming. Had a groin injury, and I don't think he ever really got to see the field good.
That's unfortunate that some of these guys get to that point and then their body just does not work with them. And that stinks. I mean, this is their one shot at the title, and they're going to go out and, you know, a lot of Chargers fans out there probably have cursed Buster Davis's name. Buster Davis, is that what you said?
Yeah, old Buster.
I remember him, yeah.
Sign me up for cursing him because he got drafted and Legadoo got drafted. And guess who was the odd man out in that situation?
Oh.
And guess
Legadoo, though, that dude earned every minute he had on the field.
Legadoo, Nane?
Yeah, that dude was good at full. So when you see people get drafted in your position, you like basically do the math. And you're like, it's not going to work out because there's a first rounder. They're not going to cut him. A fourth rounder, if he really sucks, they might cut him. Because I was like, man, I hope this dude sucks. And he did. He was good, man. So
came out crispy. Legadoo
he was crispy. He was legit. But then, that's what, you know, it ended up working out. That's what sent me to Miami, and it ended up working out. But it is hard to watch somebody get drafted in front of you and then not perform. And
that would be hard. That would definitely be hard.
That's the worst.
Debo, though, eek factor. Are we worried? Not so worried? Waiting until 2 games from now?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one with me, like, because you don't know how serious a groin injury is. I think groin injuries have like different grades to them, if I'm not mistaken, to where like it can be like serious, kind of like a rolled ankle and then a high ankle sprain, right?
Gotcha.
So now if he kind of is teetering towards that, you know, serious groin injury or maybe even a tear, then it's not looking good for the rest of the season for him. But if it's something that, you know, he felt kind of tweaked, so he pulled off of it in enough time, then you might be all right. You might be all right, Spray.
All right. Well, the Bills, they're not going to be all right because Tre'Davious White, their all-pro cornerback, he tore his ACL on Thanksgiving night in a blowout win over the Saints. And second-year player Dane Jackson replaced him. He actually was battling for corner number 2, but he lost out. So when I was reading from the Bills writers, I went and did deep dive on the Bills.
There you go.
And they were saying that Dane Jackson's a great player, but Tre'Davious White is irreplaceable. And this is going to be a big, one of the Bills newspaper guys said that this is going to possibly take them out of the Super Bowl because he's that good. And I don't know if that was just dramatic, but Tre'Davious White has been very good for the Bills over the last couple of years. And so that is something, and the Bills have struggled this year. They struggled on offense.
That's why that's dramatic, saying it took them out of the Super Bowl. They're not even in first place in their division.
Yeah. A Buffalo writer that wrote that.
Yeah.
I did say that. I did preface it with that.
The worst thing in the history of football. You know, like what the
I love one of my favorite things to do is go read articles from the local beat writers because they will give you the temperature of what's going on in that city.
I mean, that's what they like. These dudes, all they do is eat, sleep, breathe, shit that team's football. and they're usually good. I mean, and during COVID, they can't be in a locker room, but they're usually like dudes that you end up cool with because you spend so much time with them because they know fucking everything that's going on.
Yeah.
They do.
Any worries about the Bills?
Yes, absolutely. I still think we'll get it together though. We got next Monday night, Bills for first place in that division.
That's going to be a huge game.
I think the Bills are gonna win that and take it first.
All right.
I think they're gonna win that, huh?
Dude, man, I'm a Patriots hater through and through. It runs through my blood. But I just It's Mac. I mean, Mac Jones.
Bro, he doesn't.
Mac Jones.
Oh, Mac Jones. Who? Hey, don't. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Tell me, Big Mac.
I'm telling you right now.
Is it because his name is Mac?
No, don't look at him and then draw a conclusion. All right, don't do
No,
it.
I'm not.
If you
Look
look
at
at
Tom.
him, yeah, if you look at him, you're gonna be like, "Oh, no way we lose this guy." Like I probably wouldn't pick him in a pickup game at the park.
Flag football.
But he goes out there, man, and just puts it up. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I forgot in all this was that Bill Belichick is a defensive guru.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I'm saying? And he causes a lots of problems, even more than I feel like some of his players do with his ability to scheme offenses.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Belichick has proved that he doesn't need Tom Brady to win baseball games, football games. He needs whoever he just needs people to play defense, and he'll find those right people.
So, I mean, he's basically telling the offense and telling Mac Jones, go give me 16 points, and we're fine.
Exactly. They don't score much at all. And
not that hard to do in the NFL, but the defense is so damn good. It's literally like, give me 2 touchdowns and don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't even know anybody on their defense though. Like that's what gets me. It's almost like how Tom Brady can do it with any receivers.
Yeah,
it's like Bill can do it with any defense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true. He can. Next injury, and we're coming up on the end of this podcast, but we will go through. Where am I in my notes? Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, in the 49ers game. Sorry about that. That was not a smooth transition. Minnesota Vikings running back Dalvin Cook tore his labrum while dislocating his shoulder against the Niners. He's going to miss, they say, 2 games, but that sounds like a lot more painful for a running back than 2 games.
Especially that style of running back.
He's a bruiser.
Oh, God. It hurts me just to think about trying to hit somebody with a shoulder like that. Yeah. That's something that Toradol is not going to totally fix this. That shit's
Yeah, I don't know if he can be the same running back that he was with a dislocated shoulder and a labrum. The labrum doesn't feel that bad torn. It sounds crazy. Like it feels like a really bad cramp, if that makes sense, right? Like almost like a Charlie horse in the back.
Okay.
Right. So like you can kind of deal with that, you know, because like you can get through that, but like not having the stabilization or feeling like your shoulder is stable, I just feel like that'll be in the back of your mind the whole time, you know. So whereas you might, you know, put your shoulder down, you know, to get those extra yards, like we've seen them do so much, or really, you know what I'm saying, get those yards after contact. Like I don't know if he'll still be able to do that as fluently as he's been doing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been really good throughout his career. He's also dealt with a lot of injury as well. But when you play that position, I mean, running backs are kind of screwed. If I was coming up in college ranks, I don't know. I mean, maybe if that was the only position I could play, I don't think I'd be choosing running back first because my career is so short and teams are just running through running backs as fast as they can. They'll find the next one in the draft. They'll run them down, find the next one, keep going. It's just like that's the only position that is like, seems like a factory of turnover for me just because it's such a hard position to play. It takes such a toll on your body.
Yeah, not many running backs make it past 30, you know.
Yeah.
You know that feeling you have at Mac's party when you're like, fuck, this guy's big.
Mm-hmm.
Now run into him head first.
No.
40 times every week.
With him being like probably 80 pounds heavier.
Something is going to break. And it's just physics. And that's why running backs aren't getting paid like they used to, because they're not as reliable. It's just too hard to stay healthy and be an every down back.
Do you think we're gonna have a running back like a strike at any point?
No.
I think we're seeing what's happening with Debo to where running backs are going to start becoming more receiver like it's going to be a necessity that you can run the ball, but like you can actually catch the ball as well too. Like Alvin Kamara, you know, like Alvin Kamara is definitely a top running back, but he can run routes, he can catch the ball out the backfield. Like you know what I'm saying? So when you have guys like that, then you know, now, you know, like you're changing the whole dynamics of the prototype of the position. Like now we need somebody who's going to have some more longevity.
I think they're going to go running back by committee. And I think that's the only way to power through having a running back that gets hurt. I also think that we're going to eventually get quarterback by committee, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Oh, that would be weird.
I should take that back. Not by committee, but you're going to have to start spending more for a backup quarterback to get you through situations like Arizona where Kyler Murray gets down.
Oh yeah, that's a good call. Good call, because without Colt McCoy winning and the Cardinals have wasted their season, they probably would have rushed back Kyler Murray a little bit sooner too.
But they're fine. Totally fine.
Yeah. All right. Last injury that we need to talk about, then we're going to talk about Cam Newton, and it all comes together because Stanford's own Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey is out for the season with an ankle injury. Now, get this, guys. Matt Rule, which I never agreed with the hire anyway. I'm like, why is this guy like all of a sudden a football guru? He coached Baylor. Who cares? But Christian McCaffrey in the Matt Rule era of 2 seasons or a season and a half, with this one not being done yet, he's only started and finished 5 games for Matt Rule. And speaking of running backs going on strike, how does Christian McCaffrey save his career? Because this is 2 seasons in a row now where his injuries have ended his season early.
Oh, and he's pissing fantasy owners off left and right.
He definitely is. Look at Marcus. He has this look on his face like he's a Christian McCaffrey fantasy football owner.
I'm a Christian McCaffrey don't pick in fantasy football guy.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, like no way. Like he's just the history on him just lets me know like I can't really take you, even though I know everything rides on you in Carolina. Like I just know that you're probably not gonna make it through the season. And running backs don't come a dime a dozen in fantasy football.
That's true. But I mean, is he going to have to change the way he plays so that he can play? He had a great, was it his rookie year or second year? Then he got that contract extension, and then he's just been hurt ever since.
I mean, they use him like every down. Like they expect him to have 100 yards receiving and 100 yards running every game. Like it's
not going to work that way.
No, it doesn't work like that. So I'm trying to Google the names, but do you remember when Carolina had what they called ground and pound? I think it was D'Angelo Williams and somebody else. And they had like their smooth dude. And
Jonathan Stewart?
Is that who it was?
I know you're talking about, though.
I think that's the way to do it, honestly. I think that's, you can't, Christian McCaffrey is both of those. And his body can't handle it. I think you got to have 2 guys in there that can share the load. Kind of
like the Cleveland Browns right now. You know,
yeah.
Chubb, Kareem Hunt, like, you know, he definitely needs some help. I just don't think he's built to like take as much contact and as many plays as he's taking right now. You taking 30 runs a game, you know what I'm saying? Like he's just not that big of a back to me, you know what I'm saying? Like eventually, like physics is gonna catch up. Like you just can't keep on getting pounded on. He's so athletic. Like you see how he's jumping and diving over things. Like he's balls to the wall the whole time. So it's not like he's slowing down to like take a little bit off to save some. And I've actually seen running backs do that. Christian McCaffrey is not that type of running back. He's not that type of running back that's going to like dodge a hit or just keep on running out of bounds because he wants to get those extra yards for his team.
Well, Christian McCaffrey, he may be injured for the rest of the year, but he has an extremely attractive girlfriend that's going to help him recover because she is hot. She is hot. So good for him in that department. And he got his money, so you can't be mad at him for that. All right, Cam Newton. I started the podcast with him. We're going to end the podcast with him. Cam Newton is he yelled, "I'm back." We played the audio here a couple episodes ago, but came out against the Dolphins, went 5 for 20, threw 2 picks, looked terrible, and was standing on the sideline looking like, why did I come back to play? Because it was such a bad game. Is that just rust? Is that just rust, or do you think that Cam is someone who is capable of throwing up the donut here every once in a while?
All right, Mac, I know you're going to defend it.
You guys have been we were texting about this earlier.
I'm ready. You see me over here. I'm positioning myself to defend any way I can right now.
I mean, I'll make it simple, man. It's too hard in the NFL to jump into a new system. I don't give a damn who you are at quarterback. It's too hard to jump into a new system and suddenly be a dominant quarterback. Like maybe Lamar Jackson could pull that off just because if something goes wrong, he can take off. And Cam did a good job in his first week and his second week, but like you have to know so much information so fast that it's just too hard to jump in there at any position, let alone quarterback. And it'll take them a while to get rolling. And by that time, Panthers already in last in their division. It's just not going to happen.
I can't even defend him that much because at the end of the day, I know he's kicking himself right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way he's sitting there like putting the blame on anybody but himself. If you have a game like that, 5 for 20, like you want that back. Like matter of fact, you just want to just like forget about that right now. So the type of competitor he is, like he's going to come back and try and get better, but I'm just not sure especially with losing McCaffrey at this point in the year and not really having like other weapons around you, if it's going to get any better for him. And that's what hurts me, you know what I'm saying? Because like I hate for him to get to a situation where it's like just spiraling down out of control.
Well, at least, I mean, honestly, I'm saying this non-hater, at least the season is almost over. And he can put some more tape out there, I guess is what they used to call it, and he can find a new team.
That's what I think is the best hope, that he plays well enough to stick around, because Carolina doesn't have a quarterback. Like, are they going to roll with Sam?
What are you talking about, Sam Darnold, bro? PJ Walker.
Exactly.
All right, that is it for this edition of Two Pros and a Joe. And next episode, we're going to be doing some fun things. We're going to be talking about our top non-quarterback MVPs, which we're also going to have a conversation about whether or not there should be another award, because it's always just quarterbacks now for the MVP. And we're going to talk about Mr. Kneecap Cannibal himself, Dan Campbell, and his big-time double timeout that he called on Thanksgiving, which I, to this point in time in my life, don't think that he knew you can't take back-to-back timeouts. But we're going to talk about that, and we are going to go over some of the upcoming Week 13 games. So for Marcus McNeil and Greg Camarillo, I'm Matt Scraby. This is Two Pros and a Joe. Go to twoprosandajoe.com and you can find all of our podcasts, find some blogs, find all that good stuff, find out some stuff about us, see what we look like, all that good stuff. At Two Pros and a Joe on social media, at Matt Scraby for me, at Catch Camarillo for Greg, at Marcus McNeil 73 for Marcus, and if you're on Insta, it's at McNeil 73. So with that said, we're at
I like this, Brandon.